Yeah, well, I think doing a PhD has been a really useful thing in terms of my own development as a person who's organised. And obviously, all of this is with the understanding that people who don't do PhDs also spend those 3 years of their lives doing things. So I'm not saying that this is something that's unique to people with PhDs, but for me, that was a real opportunity to kind of train myself to be able to make myself work. Because you study at school, you study at university, and all of that time you're given tasks to do, you're given worksheets, you're given exams at the end of the year, you've got a focus, you've got something to work towards, and you get to PhD level and someone just goes, here's a thing, have a think about this for 3 years, and your job is then to make yourself do that. And it's really difficult, and for some people it's a real step because it's the first time in their life that they've been given charge of their own time almost, and kind of the idea of motivating yourself to keep working on something, and especially in maths, because one thing people say about doing maths research is that you spend 90% of your time being stuck, and that is absolutely the truth. You can work at something and you can not have a clue what to do next, and you can bash your head against it for hours and hours, and then suddenly you have an idea or a breakthrough, and then it's fine. And that time when you can't make any progress, or that time when you're not sure what to do, or you've got something that you could do but you're a bit intimidated by it, so you don't really want to start on it in case it turns out to be really difficult, like all of that time is really tough from a sort of motivation point of view. It's very different to if you're doing something where every time you sit down and work on it you make a load of progress. So part of the thing that I gained from my PhD was the ability to just notice when my brain was doing things like putting something off because I didn't want to do it, or all of those sort of self habits that you get into. I've become very aware of that. So that was a really useful thing to be able to say, oh, I see what's happening here. I don't need to read Twitter for 25 minutes. I need to get on with my work, so I'm going to stop doing that. And that was a real. And obviously I say, there's plenty of other ways to develop that ability, but the PhD is really plunging you in at the deep end of just like, you're in charge now. Do whatever. So that was a useful thing. But I think also with the sort of freelance thing, it is a lot of kind of managing yourself, because you are your own boss. And in a normal job situation you would have a manager who would check in with you, who would do like a review and see how you're getting on and check what your responsibilities are and how you're dealing with those things, and you kind of have to provide that all for yourself, which is difficult. And if you're not a very good boss, it doesn't really help, because you're your own boss, so you're not doing yourself any favors. But yeah, my main strategy seems to just be do whatever is working for me at the time, and that essentially means that kind of roughly every 6 months or so there's a change in what is the best thing for me, and I have to kind of adapt to it. So at the minute I've got a paper calendar on the wall and I fill it in every week that's got what I've got on that week. I keep everything in an online calendar as well, which is a Google Calendar, just because I need to be able to update it wherever I am and have it kind of a centralized thing. I did try a paper diary for a while, and I found that anytime I needed to write something in it and I didn't have it on me at the time, I was just stuck. So yeah, I couldn't add things to it unless I was physically stood in the room with it. So I thought, okay, I'll keep that online, and then I can update it from my phone or from my computer or whatever. But I write it out on the paper one because it gives me a sort of focus for the week, and then I can physically cross things out, which is quite a satisfying thing to do. And that'll include sort of timed events that I have to be at a place at a time, and also things that I want to try and get done that day, and I can cross those out as well. But yeah, it's a lot of to-do lists. It's a lot of trying to sort of split up my day as well, because I work on so many different things. I'll say, okay, I'm going to do an hour on this, and my brain knows as I get towards the end of that hour, oh, I'm going to be able to work on something else in a bit, so I might as well just put some more effort into this thing. And it's almost sort of a cliche. I remember when I was a student at school, we were told about how to plan your revision time, and there was this graph that someone showed us that was what your concentration looks like during the time that you're working on something, and it just sort of starts high and then just gradually goes downwards. But if you've got a planned break, it sort of goes up again towards the end of the block of work. So I kind of keep that in my mind, that actually if I know I'm going to have a break in half an hour, I'll be able to kind of work all the way up to that, and then I make myself have a break, because obviously it's important to keep, make sure you get up and walk around sometimes, for your eyes to not be staring at a screen all day, to get up and look at something out the window or whatever. And even though it feels like you're sort of stopping yourself in the middle of something, it's actually better to have that break, and then you can come back to it refreshed. Especially with maths, you often carry on thinking when you're not doing it. So you come back and you've got